Subway. When Cat comes to Elijah in New Orleans rather than going to David for help, will Elijah protect her? What will ensue throughout the events will see the ones this week? Will Elijah learn to finally forgive Cat for lying to him once in her lifetime? Will they get back together? When Cole is resurrected by Esther, will Cat be able to keep the secret from Elijah that she and Cole in the past had to feel free? What will ensue? Originals, Heart by Heart United, Kalijah, Chapter 1, Protection at the End of the Harvest. It was a dismal night as a human cat walked through the French Quarter, heading for the compound. She needed protection, so she was going to Elijah. He may not have forgiven her for lying to him for once, but he would wish her to end up dead. He would always love her. The shame was sent for her. She wouldn't want him dead either. She loved him too. Elijah was in the parlor, having a shot glass above him when there was a knock. Then he smelled the very familiar scent of Katrina. However, it was accompanied by the scent of human. He had no reason why. He knew about the clear after all. He got up and set his nearly empty shot glass on the end table by the couch he'd been sitting in. Then he headed to the door, which revealed a disheveled Katrina. She had clearly been through hell after the couldn't through it. Katrina, Elijah grinned. He hadn't forgiven her yet for lying to him for once. But if she needed help, he'd be more than willing to go out of his way for her. Elijah, she grinned. I need your help. I imagine so. Come. Elijah replied before stepping aside. The newly turned human stepped inside. Elijah closed the door before going back to the parlor, Katrina following. Once in the parlor, they looked at each other. I'm here to ask for your protection. I'm human. If anyone finds out, you know what will happen, she told him. And who, pray tell, did this to you? The original asked Elena. I took my anger out on her. I feel it was her fault. You laughed. She answered him. No, I'll always protect you, Katrina, he replied. She gave a smile at that, glad that he was willing to still protect her, despite the last time they'd seen each other. I appreciate that, she replied. You may take a guest room upstairs, he informed her. About half an hour later, she'd taken a shower in the guest bathroom and was dressed in clothes he'd given her that Rebecca had. Unwillingly, she was sure, let him give her until she could supply her. Now she was settled in the guest bedroom after having eaten. After she took a nap for a while, she came downstairs to the parlor that evening, only to see Klaus there. In an instant, he had her against the wall. What are you doing here, Katrina? He growled, and around herself and that tightly, allowing her to speak as well as to not hurt her human self. I got the clear shoved down my throat. I came here for protection, Klaus. The moment after she informed Klaus of this, Elijah was in the background. Let her go, Nick Klaus, he warned. She's under my protection. After a few moments, she let her go. As she turned to face Elijah, she told him, I think I'm gonna go. I need to give you all some time to talk about this. Then she left the compound. When she was looking around inside a store in a mall in the French Quarter, she found a horrible earthquake, and one dead that was still there. Most of the people there got out, but a few didn't, like herself. Then she felt something hit her, and everything went black. When she woke up, she was in pain and buried by different things that made up the store and mall. She could feel blood on either side of her head, especially her legs and most of her foot. The vision was blurry too, and she couldn't really move. She was regretting her decision to go alone to pick herself some clothes now. I need to find Petrina. I just staring at the mirror, still in the floor. I'll find her. You try and calm Demeter down, Rebecca said. She knew if she was anything like a normal human, she was probably somewhere hurt, with a fear in her veins, though. Rebecca knew if she was hurt, she was the only one that could help her. She was the only one in the family that had been assuming for no proper way to deal with wounds without using the blood. After Elijah agreed that she grabbed a few things she might need, she went in search of the now human and doppelganger. The human didn't know how long she'd been lifeless, but her vision was starting to dim. She felt like she couldn't breathe too, and she started to not feel anything. She was sure it had to be from her injuries, and it wasn't that. She couldn't fight it like she wanted to. The blonde original, after a while, smelled Catherine nearby as well as blood. Then she blew into a collapsed door. She could see a few dead humans as she entered what was left of the store, and spreading the aftermath. She heard a repeated sound of hot blood, and she detected where Catherine was, and blood towards a pile of debris, blood, and broken up cement. And she got her unburied, which was when she saw the damage. There was blood on either side of her head, an open leg, a tree, close to the food, and she wasn't fully aware of the slow pulse and height. She knelt by her and was glad that she made a stop for a few things. Then she put the breathing mask on her and pulled out the piece of wood from her open leg, full of fire pressure to try and stop or slow the bleeding. Catherine, can you hear me? I need you to stay with me. As she kept an eye on Catherine, she took care of her open leg artery, and that was the washrooms, so the hero could dive with artery open. Then, when she had finished with that, she started taking care of her lower stomach work, and as she began to, her phone went off, so she answered it. Did you find her? Caroline voice on the phone. I did. You might want to come meet me after you close the store here, she said. Elijah, realizing what she was making, told her, I'm on my way. So they hung up, and he headed over there as quickly as he could. As soon as he was, he saw where Rebecca had met. He learned to where they were now on the opposite side of Rebecca was on. Kalijah, he said, try and keep her awake. She's lost a lot of blood. Rebecca instructed him. As she finished that with tending to her nose kind of foot. 20 minutes later, Catherine was in a room at the compound, having been tended to and saved. She'd be okay now that Rebecca got her blood transfusion and the God who was taken care of. Now she just needed to rest for a little while. So while she was in bed, Elijah sat on the bedside waiting for her to wake up. Rebecca was in the pile of clouds, figuring out what to do with Rita. They'd learned from the witch named Sophie that the harvest needed to be finished. The reader was manifesting signs that the magic was too much for her. A few hours later, Kat woke up to see Elijah on the bedside. Katrina, he said. She gave her a smile. I guess Rebecca's quite the miracle worker. What happened? The only two she does with us clicks. She slowly sat. The reader has magic from three dead harvest goals. The harvest needs to be finished, but there's no way to do that without sacrificing the reader. Equal. You need to then, but she wants all of us humans to die. She'll burn it to the ground if she's not sacrificed. So there's no other way. Exactly, she replied. At night, the reader agreed to finish the harvest. So that's what they all did. After a few weeks later, the reader finally came back to life. At first, she was scared because the ancestors were angry for her using magic to help vampires all the time. But she eventually got used to being alive again and decided not to care about what the ancestors wanted. Chapter 2. A Microsoft Resurrection. It was a beautiful day at the French Quarter as Pat walked through the streets. It had been a few months since they'd had to take down Celeste, Elijah's witch axe, but there was still flesh in Pat's mind. She couldn't believe that Elijah still cared about Celeste, so he didn't hesitate to get rid of her in the end. But she knew that he still loved her, even if it was only just a small part of him that cared. It made her question if he truly was out of love with her, or if he truly was still in love with her. She loved in the present, and seemed that the part of him still lived in the past. Now that it had been a few months since last, things had cooled down some, but now they knew that Michael and Esther had both risen. It made her wonder who else had also come back to life. Surely Esther would just bring herself back. She knew, though, if Esther had brought back Cole, that meant that Cat could use that as an advantage. She could use him to tell her everything he knew. She and Cole, after all, had once had a few one-night stands together in the past. She was sure that he'd still care about her well-being, which meant he would still at least somewhat love her. Suddenly she heard a voice behind her. Catherine? She turned around to look at him. You're gonna need to refresh my memory. Which resurrected soul are you? This particular person doesn't know me. Well, my darling, well, it's me, he replied, standing in front of her. Cole? She questioned. It's me, darling, he assured her. She gave a smile. Well, if you could spare a while away from your mother, shall we go have a drink? I love you, darling, he replied with a smile. About half an hour later, they were staring at the face masseuse, having a drink with one another, staring next to each other at the bar. So, have you been? She questioned him, making small talk before getting to what she'd asked him here for. Never balanced, don't count my company, she answered her truthfully. None of that she'd be able to tell if he was lying to her. That's not why you this drink with me, though, is it? He added. None of her far too well. You might cheat, but I didn't know if you had been resurrected or not, although I had hoped. I was hoping you could give me some insight on what your mother and whatever else she's resurrected and I planned you. Human or not, I'm still pretty good at planning things. I promise you, you can help. You can trust me. What do you want to know, darling? She asked, deciding to help her, even if it meant his siblings found out about him being alive. For starters, who else did she bring back from the dead? As far as I'm aware of, just how late clear salvage was. Then she put both of us inside bodies of witches, claiming that she wants to put our family back together. She thinks if we're all inside of witches, our family will be reunited. It has to be willingly, though. If you see Vincent, steer clear. That's my advice, he told her. First, she wants to kill all of her children. Then she wants to put the children in bodies of witches to make her family whole again. Well, it's not anything new. We all know my mother's crazy, she replied. Well, I'd ask you to stay with us for a while for your safety, but that will go well for you. Thanks for the intel. Does either of you'll tell me in the future, right? Of course, darling, you replied. Great. Then we have an Great. Then we have an understanding. I should go now. They'll probably worry if I spend all day in court by myself. She got up. It was great seeing you again, though. He watched as she left Moses. When she brought home to the Buxton compound, she found Klaus and Elijah with the as a pilot. I have some inside information. We want to know who your mother brought back to life with her. She told them. Wait till Katrina, who is your class asked her. Cole is the son of a witch. He's informed me that your mother thinks she can make your family whole again. She plans to put all you inside of different bodies, but you have to be willing. That's her grave. Cole only agreed to be brought back so she could live. I asked her to do me a favor and tell me anything else she finds out, she replied. Wonderful, Elijah said sarcastically. Do you trust him? Klaus asked. He knew Cole could be a weasel or even a fox. I do. Cole is nobody to worry about. He told me something else too. After a resurrected friend too. He's inside a witch named Vincent. Cole hasn't been told every little detail though. He doesn't know if she's resurrected anyone else. She has to hide them. Then it's settled. We wait for more information before we take care of our mother and friend, Elijah said. We should move now. Get rid of them both before she tries to get any of us to agree to her ludicrous plan. Klaus disagreed with him. Elijah's right. We need to be cautious with mother. We're not going to read. I know you want to make her suffer, but now's not the time, Cat reasoned. Fine. Klaus replied, seeing their points. That night, Cat was in her room when she felt a presence. And she heard his voice as she stood with her back turned. Thank you, Katrina. You helped us ensure that we'll know everything Cole does every step of the way. I doubt anyone else could convince her like you did, Glenn said as he stood at the threshold. Well, I could be convincing, she replied. An instant later, he stood behind her. Well, thank you all the same, anyway, he replied. She turned around to look at him. So, now that I've constantly been on your mind, do you forgive me? She wants to know. He rested her hand on his side of her face. I forgive you, Katrina, he assured her, having recently forgiven her. She gave a smile at that, but a layer thing began to make up. Chapter 3 Rescue Mission. After several weeks of getting intel from Cole, it gave them all the ability to put the pieces together of what was being planned. So far, they had learned that the mother wanted Cole to keep an eye on Rena because she didn't trust her to not be against her. Also, when they had a dinner with her and their two resurrected brothers, she'd body jumped into a different witch, so she wasn't in Cassie anymore, but rather was in an older witch now. They had also learned that Esther was fighting about putting her plan into motion, which is why the disappearance of Elijah and Catherine was unnerving for Klaus, making him want to just go murder right then and there. But refrained from doing so. He didn't know where his mother had them, so he couldn't even help them if they were in danger. He could only be somewhat glad that they were most likely together. And that was an opportunity. He knew Katrina was stubborn, she was a vampire, so he didn't think there was much that his mother could do to her. Unless, of course, there was something his mother knew about her that the rest of them didn't. After all, he and Elijah hadn't met her until 1492. There were years before that were unaccounted history. If his mother had told the truth back in Mystic Falls 2 years ago, she would have seen things with Katrina freedom that no one else had, because there was a possibility of something like that having happened. Time was of the essence. Besides, there was only so much time that the human Katrina could try to get the witch, especially an original, powerful witch. As the highway walked briskly through the French Quarter streets he called Cole, if anything would happen to either Katrina or Elijah, he was pretty sure Cole would help take care of the problem. That, or he'd at least know some kind of helpful information. Elijah was family. Katrina, on the other hand, he was sure was some kind of freedom from the past in Cole's perspective. She and Elijah would always love one another, no matter what came their way or got between them. But though Clausen kept his suspicions to himself, he'd been seeing the interaction between them that made him assume that Katrina and Cole had once long ago had a freedom. He hadn't said anything because he hadn't wanted to ruin what Elijah and Katrina had. Elijah had only just recently forgiven her, so he didn't want to break the trust Elijah had reformed with Katrina. Something wrong, brother, Cole inquired, assuming that the call from Klaus meant that something was wrong. More wrong than what he knew had already happened. He'd been trying to figure out how to get the news to his other siblings without Esther and him finding out that he'd reasoned on them now, and he could afford to meet up. But he wasn't sure if he could trust her this much when it came to helping him to save them both. He knew she hated his brother, so he wasn't sure if she hated just Lexington or his brother in general. That, and she didn't know yet who he truly was. Elijah could not miss him. I assume this is how much it's good. I might use that intelligent brain in order to figure out where they are. You know where our mother has been lately. What do you say? You find? I was going to tell you, Willie, but things been more intense than usual. I'll watch you whatever too caution that he added. She's got them both under a sleeping spell of some sort. I'm not sure what the plan for Catherine is, but you can assume my mother's plan for Elijah. Fair will be dealt with, where she's keeping them classified. You are the mausoleum and one of the mausoleums in the cemetery. What's your plan? Blame the witch to the cemetery. She could be a distraction. Rebecca and I will get between Elijah home, he replied. Although he was sure that Paul still had feelings for Katrina, he wasn't going to involve him or she'd get caught. Then it would be over. Cole was about to say that he didn't think that it was a good idea to involve her, but he didn't get a chance because his sibling hung up on him. So he knew that he had no choice. He had to tell Davida everything. Catherine and Elijah didn't help, which was going to involve Davida. If they didn't get rescued in time, she would break them both. They were both stubborn to a point, but the kind of soothing spell she had never under made them relive them. Even Catherine wouldn't be able to handle all of that torment. She knew what his backstabbing brother had done to her family. If she had to relive that, he didn't know what pieces would be left. He knew it would be up to Elijah to restore those pieces, though. They were both a master at letting each other in the times of great need, he knew, so he was sure that they'd be fine in time. After Cole told Davida everything and had let her be angry at him for a while, she finally agreed to help, totally for the sake of Catherine. He had to know that Davida knew her well enough, but she assumed she did. Anyone that didn't know her as a friend or more, after all, would most likely never help her when she needed it the most. Meanwhile, Elijah and Catherine hung by separate chains that were in the ceiling of the mausoleum cave, both still under sleeping spell. They both were fighting a bit. Elijah wasn't in as much horror as Catherine was enduring at the moment. After all, remembering that she'd accidentally killed Tatya 1,000 years ago wasn't as horrible as the loss of everyone he especially with the loss of everyone you hold dear to you was the result of Klaus and his anger. Catherine's head. It was 49 here in Bulgaria, and she stood inside her childhood home. We lived the pain of finding her village and family spotted. Because of how her father was alive, she didn't care much for him. It was more of a relief, though she wanted to be the one to secretly revenge upon him. She cared a lot about her mother, though, so she watched over and knelt by her, weeping over her. Grandma, she cried, unable to stop her relieving her grief. This was the night that she'd broken into a zillion pieces, and those pieces would never be healed, she felt, at least not fully. A while later, she was put back in time. Now she was human Katrina that had just given birth to Nadia. Let me see her, please. Let me hold her, just once. Katrina begged the nurse that had helped her deliver Nadia as the nurse held the baby. Just as the nurse was about to let Katrina see her, Katrina's father came in. What are you doing, woman? Bring the child to me, he ordered. The nurse did as she was told. Then Mr. Petrova took her from the nurse. Please, Papa, she called, wanting him to reconsider. He stepped he stopped at the threshold to the room, where he turned and looked at her. No, you have disgraced this family. It's better for the both of you if she never knows you, he said before leaving with her. Let her go, Katrina, her mother soothed, as tears streamed down Katrina's face. Katrina didn't want to, though. She wanted to fight to keep her outside of Catherine's head. While Dorina distracted the wolves that were in league with Esther, using magic on any of them that tried to attack. Rebecca and Klaus went in search of both Catherine and Elijah were being kept. It didn't take long to find them. At the moment, no one was in there with them, so Rebecca and Klaus didn't need to fight Elijah to them. When they got Elijah and Pat in bed in separate rooms, they didn't wake up still in the same state. I need you to fetch a leaf from a certain plant, he told Rebecca. Realizing the crowd smelled Elijah. You'll need one leaf for each of them. I'll stay here and keep an eye on them. Fine, he aimed to get them out of the state, she replied. Then once he told her the name of the plant and its location, she left. When she came back and he used each leaf to undo the spell, he sat on Katrina's bedside, knowing what they had to do. They're not waking up. See if you can get through to Elijah. I'll help Katrina. Rebecca left the room to do as Klaus asked. The husband looked at his folded up paper, knowing he'd have to go inside her head. He didn't like having to do this, but she knew he and Elijah would be best for this. Forgive me for what I'm about to do, but I don't have any other choice. I need you to come back to us, Klaus said, before resting a hand on her forehead and closing his eyes, going inside Catherine's head. After Klaus fished through her head, going past her memories, he found her at last. She was sitting against a tree trying to fight what Esther had done to her. Klaus approached and knelt in front of her. Katrina, the husband said, gave her attention. She opened her eyes to see him. Considering she found her real self, she assumed he was actually here. Klaus, she cried. He got to his feet and held out a hand to help her as he told her, come, I'm here to bring her back. She took his hand and he helped her up. outside the cabin. Klaus waited for her to wake up, still sitting on the bedside. Then, a little later, she woke up. I'm sorry about my mother. So painful what she did to both of you, he promised. Elijah's in his room, he added. Thank you, she said. And she watched as Klaus left the room. About an hour later, Klaus found Esther in the mausoleum that they'd rescued Elijah and Katrina from. Then he punished her for what she'd done by putting her in transition. Then, when he was done with getting back to her, he was able to find Fred and lock him up in his coffin until he had a chance to deal with him. And so they both dealt with, and Esther's plan was never enacted. And because Klaus took care of them both, Cole was able to make himself at home at the compound with the rest of them. It was dark outside as Kat stood on the balcony of the guest room, silent, trying to get over the fact that Esther had made her relive her horrific past. She'd also had to relive losing methods along the way during her years at the vampire. She still wondered to this day what had happened to her daughter, and to this day she wondered what her mother thought of her, wherever she was. She could care less about her father. She and the Michelsons were similar when it came to the subject of her father. Neither of them had had a wonderful father. Elijah, who had spent the rest of the day going over what his mother had tried to accomplish with him, approached her silently from behind. He knew what he'd relived was less terrible than what Katrina had probably gone through. He'd remembered and relived killing his first love on accident, but Katrina had lived through the worst things imaginable that could happen to someone. He didn't know her full story before he met her, but she knew about the slaughter of her village, including her family, and he knew that she'd been banished from her home. He also knew the monster that she'd become as a vampire after having survived his brother when she'd been quite the monster. He knew that unlike him, it was going to take time for her to get through this. No one had ever done something like this to her before, nor had anyone ever been inside her head as far as he did. He rested a hand on her shoulder as he stood behind her before speaking. Katrina, you're feeling better, I assume, she commented. Yes, well, it's not the first attack our mother has done to us. It wasn't as terrible as I'm sure yours was. I spent the rest of the day dealing with what our mother made me remember. So I'm guilty for what I did. I know that it never would have happened if our mother had just let us all die when we were supposed to. So what did you remember? All this time we all thought that our mother killed Kalijah to make us into vampires, but we were wrong. 3 days after we returned, I tried to reason with Kalijah when she thought we were monsters, because she didn't understand what had happened to us. And she tripped and scraped her hand, though I couldn't control it. When I brought her to her mother, I didn't know that she was dead, and our mother told me to leave the memory behind the red door. So that's what the memory was until our mother made me remember. I may have accidentally killed her 1,000 years ago, but our mother did this to us, so it's mainly on her hands. However, I hear that Klaus has given her quite a punishment, so we can all rest easily. She won't be able to go after any of us again. He explained and informed her. He then asked her, do you want to talk about it? What did our mother show you? She sighed, not sure she's ready to share, but considering it was Elijah, she wasn't afraid to say anything. Well, you know I was Spanish from Bulgaria and ended up in England. You also know everything I've been through since I turned. What you don't know is that I can relate when it comes to father issues. Klaus did me a favor when he killed my father. The reason I was banished is because I had a daughter out of wedlock with someone my father did choose for me to be with. When I gave birth, he pretty much tore her from my arms. I never knew what happened to her, since I couldn't find her when I went back for her for tonight. Then when I was on my own to give my father what he deserved for the life he gave me and what he put my mother through, that's when I heard about the spot. I was relieved that she was gone. After all that, the spell made me relive everyone else I ever lost. She did have a composition before she put me under that big spell, though. Maybe I would have jumped at it as a vampire, but I have no use for the proposition as a given. Sorry, Katrina. What was her proposition? She finally wanted to know. That she could help me start over with a clean slate. No chance of enemies or anyone that knows me finding me. I can have my own life and be free. However, I don't have use for any of that. You all will always protect me from all enemies, and I'm already free to go. Class has changed some. It's not my enemy anymore. Well, I'm here if you need to know that Katrina, he cried. I went to stand beside her and not around her. I know, she replied. She then gave a smile at him. After a moment, they began to make out. Chapter 4. The Unexpected Reunion and Liberation. After Catherine and Elijah helped each other get over what Esther had done to them, they went back to normal, and someone emerged. Klaus didn't believe that she was their long ago elder sister, but then he heard her story as well as the fact that Katrina had known all about her for some time. Katrina had been selfless and had helped her return to her siblings, knowing all too well what it was like to feel alone. So he finally came to believe her. Flair's arrival had even changed Michael's behavior. Something better died with Esther's life after death was awoken. Now the siblings that had seen nothing but brutality from Michael for more than 1,000 years saw something else. He became kinder, much like she had been when Freya had been a little girl. She was the apple of his eye, after all. About a year later, a vaporous cat never heard of before came to the portrait. That's when she learned that Klaus surprisingly had a death. A war and Klaus had once been each other's equals. Elijah had stepped in, though. A woman wanted payback for that. Now, here she was in a life and death situation. This time she couldn't save herself. Elijah crossed Rebecca and Freya stood in the compound. The woman had blown off his craft a while ago before anyone could stop her. Rebecca had just hoped her crazy Shorday would kill before the doppelganger. Klaus, on the other hand, was ready to do anything to ensure Katrina's safety. Elijah and Klaus both knew that this was past Elijah's fault. She was going to get revenge by any means possible. She just couldn't let go of the past. They didn't know where to look, though. There were too many places to hide in New Orleans. Freya couldn't even locate her because she was close. Elijah began to leave, tired of sitting around and waiting to see what the war would do next. Where are you going across the fire? I'm not going to sit around to find out where she has Katrina, Elijah answered his brother. That's not a good idea, Rebecca reminded him. You're not going to go there classified. Bring him to help Elijah find Katrina no matter what the cost may be. Are you two mad? Rebecca inquired. She may be a lunatic, but she's still a smart strategist. We can't find Catherine on our own, so you might as well go straight to the horse. If you're so worried, maybe you should take Cole with you and we'll split up to find her classified. Rebecca couldn't believe how much of idiots they could be sometimes, but knew she couldn't stop them from going out by themselves without backup. Fine, I'll see if I can find a war, Rebecca said. Then she watched as both Klaus and Elijah went off. Meanwhile, Catherine was injured by the war's pet and transition vampires, but also from the war herself. She had awoken and realized that she was in some kind of crate shaped like a possible coffin. That's when she realized that the war was playing a game to find out if they could find her in time, because Catherine was in the ground and injured. She could also tell that she lost a lot of blood from all of her injuries, so she was wondering how time to be saved. She just hoped it wouldn't be too late. A few hours or so later, Elijah and Klaus ended up looking for her in the bayou, not finding her either in the quarter or across the river. It didn't take long after that to find her, though, and when they did, Klaus got her buried. Then the two of them got the wooden crate-like coffin out of the hole and onto the ground before Klaus broke the lock. Elijah then opened it up, which was when they saw how injured she was. She'd obviously been injured before being put in there. They then got her on the ground and Klaus untied the ropes around her wrists. Klaus got to his feet, having done what he could, but none of the rest was up to his sisters. She lost a lot of blood from her injuries after all. Elijah gently pulled her into his arms and got to his feet before pulling him to the compound. Klaus took out his phone and called Rebecca. Then, when she answered, he told her, Katrina's been found. You need to meet Elijah and play at the compound. I'll look for Aurora. Just be careful, she advised him. Don't worry, I won't be alone. You, Elijah, and Flea are safe to this life. Cole and I will put an end to Aurora's grave, she replied before he was up. When Rebecca arrived at the compound, ready to help in any way she could, not knowing beforehand how bad it was, she saw the human on the table that wasn't far from the stairs. Elijah not far away, but he was working on healing her wounds. Meanwhile, Cole and Klaus had band together and been able to finally find Klaus' red-headed neck. Cole pinned her against the wall. What do you say, Nick? Should we whip her heart out now? He inquired, angry at the redhead for putting Catherine in a possible death situation. Sure, she was with Elijah. This time it's 2 feet in. But that didn't mean she let anything happen to her. He still loved her, even though he kept up a different appearance around Elijah. He and Catherine didn't want Elijah to know that they had once had more than one sleep together. They knew he'd find out sooner or later, but for now, it was best to keep it to themselves. Believe me, I'd love to. More than that, I'd love to torture her for what she's done. However, we need her alive, at least for now. We need answers, Klaus replied to him. After a while, Freya had been able to heal Catherine's wounds, while Rebecca used her nurse skills, so Catherine lived to see another day. Catherine woke up to find that she was in bed in the room at the compound. Elijah sitting on her bedside, obviously having been waiting for her to wake up. She felt that she was healed and felt better. She could also tell that it had been a little while, considering what it looked like outside. You're awake, she grinned. She slowly sat up, knowing she should take it easy for a while. I assume you found me so thanks, she said, not just briefly falter. Klaus helped. He and Cole went to find a war a while ago. Should we be concerned that neither of them are back yet? Cat questioned. I'm going to give them a little while before we send to such fighting. You know how they like to do things, Elijah replied to her. Yes, I'm well aware, she answered him. After Cole and Klaus had gotten some answers from the war as to why she had gone after Catherine, despite the part of him still caring about the war, Klaus killed her and left Cole get rid of her. The two of them then went home. Catherine was downstairs with Elijah when Cole and Klaus came home. Cole was glad that she was okay now and not dying, but he didn't say so with Elijah present. Instead, he went upstairs to his room to get new clothes on, while Klaus stayed downstairs with them. I see you've survived Katrina yet again. Don't worry, you'll never see a war again, he told her. He then looked at Elijah, now knowing the reason that she'd chosen to take Katrina. As for you, you can blame yourself. This is your fault. Aside from the reason that I made her let you leave without her. But unlike you, I saw how crazy she was even as a human. Yes, you were happy, but I couldn't allow an insane person to travel with us. She would have destroyed you or the rest of us. You fled to her, and that's the only reason you told her, right? Classified. No, there was another reason behind it. No, I was angry after the war told me about what you did to our mother. At the time, I wanted you to hurt. That I'm sorry for. I can't take any of it back, though. So you see, he hasn't always been so moral. Cross station to Katrina. Doesn't matter now. What matters is your past trying to destroy one, maybe both of us. She's dead, but others could come. I hate to say it, but this might not be a safe city anymore. Not for me or for anyone else that has their past coming back to avenge someone else. Besides, we all used to be different before becoming something other than human. It isn't much of a shock that Elijah wasn't born for a few minutes in the past, she replied to Ivan. She then added, I'm sure you're able to Elijah, but just put yourself in his shoes for once. You do the same and worse. She then walked off to let Klaus think about what she'd said. After a while of consideration of her words, but also knowing that it can happen hundreds of years ago when castles and knights had still been popular, they decided to not stay angry at Elijah. Besides, Katrina was right. They'd all changed when they become vampires, or in Cross case, a hybrid. Back then, they'd been still learning their abilities, so they hadn't even known about compulsion until time had passed. Chapter 5. Afterward. During her stay in New Orleans, they were all able to take care of each enemy that came their way, no matter what. Elijah didn't even find out about Cole and Cat's past friends, because Cole finally moved on, having found his love with Karina, while Cat and Elijah stayed together. And unlike the last time they were together, they were stronger together than before. Klaus even forgave Cat for the past that occurred between them 500 plus years ago. And after a while or so, Klaus and Cat became friends for once in their lifetimes. And so everyone got along perfectly